World powers are urging Israel and the Lebanese Hezbollah group to de-escalate tensions at the border after the Hezbollah group launched hundreds of large-scale rockets and drones towards Israel. And this comes right after the Israeli military launched preemptive strikes in Lebanon after detecting preparations for large-scale attacks by Hezbollah. Now, the Lebanese caretaker Prime Minister Najib Mikati said government is making efforts to stop the escalation. The Prime Minister made the statement after a ministerial meeting which took place to follow up on the developments in the south of the country. Meanwhile, Israeli forces have released a video showing its targeted strikes on Hezbollah's military posts across southern Lebanon. The Lebanese group says 2 of its operatives have been killed in Israeli fire. Hezbollah says that its attack is an initial response to a top commander's killing, Fuad Shukr. The Lebanese group has said it began an air attack with a large number of drones targeting areas deep into Israel. And Hezbollah fighters have also targeted enemy positions and barracks and Iron Dome platforms with rockets. It fired more than 320 Katyusha rockets targeting 11 military bases in northern Israel. Hezbollah says it targeted Israel's surveillance Meron base and 4 sites in the Golan Heights. Israel says that it hit thousands of Hezbollah rocket launchers in its preemptive strikes. In Lebanon's capital, Beirut, many travelers are stranded at the airport, the Beirut airport, after the cross-border fire between the Israeli forces and Hezbollah. Air France has also cancelled its flights to Tel Aviv and Beirut till Monday.
أنا بدي شيء أطلع من هون بكل وسائل، يعني جربت أطلع بالبر، جربت بدي حيلا طيران، حيلا شيء بدي أطلع من هون تروح دبر حالي، يمكن ما لاقي بدي أقعد جمعة ما بعرف قد إيه بدي أقعد بالأردن بس مهم أطلع من هون.
Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant has declared a 48-hour state of emergency across the country. Gallant also briefed his U.S. counterpart on the strikes, saying they are closely monitoring the developments. U.S. President Joe Biden has directed U.S. officials to continuously communicate with Israel, and National Security spokesperson has reassured that U.S. will keep supporting Israel's right to defend itself. Now, cross-border attacks between Hezbollah and Israel have escalated dramatically, and more so in the past couple of months itself. On the 18th of June, Hezbollah published a video from one of its reconnaissance drones which was flying over northern Israel, including the Haifa port. This video appeared to put out a message to Israel that Hezbollah has its eyes on Israel and access to most of its security installations. Then again in July, Hezbollah had published an almost 10-minute long video showing footage of 17 military sites in the Israeli-occupied Syrian Golan Heights. The video showed Israeli Iron Dome batteries, command centers and ammo depots. These recent warnings indicate that Hezbollah had been bracing for a wide-scale attack against Israel for quite some time now. All right, to discuss this further, we're being joined by Fuad Izadi from Tehran. He is the Associate Professor, Faculty of World Studies, University of Tehran, also a columnist and political commentator. Professor Izadi, thank you so much for making time and joining us here on WION World is One. So, Hezbollah fired hundreds of rockets and drones towards Israel to avenge the killing of Fuad Shukr. But curiously, just hours before these strikes, the IRGC chief, Major General Salami, said, "You'll hear good news about revenge." And hours later, Hezbollah carried out those strikes. Now, just to remind our viewers, Iran has also vowed revenge against Israel for Ismail Haniyeh's death, which took place in Tehran. So, should one consider today's strikes as a revenge for Haniyeh, or should we expect a separate one from Iran as well?
You know, I think the Iranian revenge is going to be separate, and it's delayed because I think Iranian leaders want to see whether the peace negotiations will have any results. They don't want to give Netanyahu an excuse to prolong the war. We are witnessing a genocide in Gaza. More than 40,000 people have been killed. 70% are women and children. We are dealing with a genocidal regime, so you have to be careful in terms of making sure that you don't engage in activities that is not helpful to that genocidal regime. And I think the revenge will come sooner or later, depending on the situation on the ground. and they want to have a surprise. They may not want to repeat what Iran did in April using ballistic missiles. They may engage in different type of counterattacks, and I think we just have to wait and see.
Professor, Egypt, on the other hand, also warns very strongly against the dangers of opening a new war front in Lebanon. Now, as per you, what do you make of this reaction from Egypt?
You know, the Israelis, what you saw today was a response to the killing of, as you said, a major military figure of Hezbollah, Mr. Fuad Shukr, and they didn't have to do that. They killed him in Beirut. The unwritten rule was not to hit each other's capitals, and Hezbollah followed that rule, and Israel did not. I think, given the fact that Israelis have not achieved their goal of destroying Hamas, you know, Hamas is not an army; it's a militia. They don't have an air force. They don't have a navy, and Israel has a big army, and they have the help of the United States, many Western countries. So they have failed in their stated missions in Gaza, and they want to Israelis want to start a new front in Lebanon with the aim of maybe attracting attention to some other point, basically opening a new front. And I think Hezbollah and Lebanese understand that fact, and they are engaging Israelis in a manner to make sure that there is a level of deterrence. They don't want a repeat of what they saw in Gaza with the rampage that Israelis engage in. And at the same time, they need to make sure that they don't give Netanyahu an excuse to engage in activities to justify his crimes in Gaza.
Professor Ezadi, now Israel claims that some of those rockets were in fact aimed towards central Israel as well, perhaps towards the capital. And there was a drone which landed in Tel Aviv some time back, which came from one of the proxy militias. Now, at this point, Hezbollah said that this concludes phase 1. How do you understand what phase 2 will look like?
You know, the idea behind what happened last night and what will happen again is to make sure to send this message that attacking Beirut, attacking other places in Lebanon has a cost. Because what we know of the Israeli regime is that if there is no cost, they will continue these type of attacks, they will increase attacks. So creating a level of pain to the other side to make sure that they don't engage in this type of reckless activities, that's the aim. And it seems the first round of Hezbollah response was not enough, given what Netanyahu said after the first round. And Hezbollah's capabilities are quite extensive, and I think Israelis understand that. And engaging, continuing the genocide, instead of following the UN resolution, following the request of all countries, including Indian government, to have a ceasefire, not paying attention to that, violating international law. You know, Mr. Netanyahu is a criminal. If he goes to a country that's not friendly to him, he will be arrested. So I think any human being, when you see the pictures from Gaza, you will be affected. You don't have to be a Muslim or an Arab to be affected by the pictures that you see. And I think the sooner this genocidal war stops, it's going to be better for everybody.
Professor Ezadi, at this point, I want to just quickly circle back to the initial response that you had given. What do you think really Iran is waiting for now it has a cabinet in place? Am I audible to you, Professor Ezadi?
Yes.
My question to you is regarding Ismail Haniyeh's, the revenge against Ismail Haniyeh's death in Tehran. What do you feel Iran is really waiting for now? Does it have a cabinet in place now that it does one?
Yeah, I think the reason for the delay was not because a new government was coming into office in Tehran. I think the delay is due to the fact that they want to make sure that they don't do things that's beneficial to Netanyahu. Netanyahu wants to prolong the war, engage other countries, because he understands that if the war in Gaza stops, if the killings of Palestinians stops today, he will go to jail. He is also a convicted criminal. So that is the aim, and making sure that there is a level of surprise. And, there is an economic cost that Israelis are paying. Everybody is expecting a response from Iran, and that is creating serious difficulties for the Israeli economy. And that is a level of revenge that Iran is already taking. And I think sooner or later you will see other types of response from Iran, but you're not going to hear that from me on this program.
I get your point, sir. That was Associate Professor, Faculty of World Studies, University of Tehran, Fouad Izadi, joining us from Tehran. Thank you so much for making time and sharing all your insights, sir.
Thank you.